How do I purchase a flood insurance policy, and when will it become active?
So purchasing a flood insurance policy can happen through a number of ways. Usually the easiest way is to start with your insurance agent, where you're getting the other coverages for your home. Easy way to do that. If you already have a policy or you want to do some of the shopping yourself, you can go to floodsmart.gov, type in your address, zip code, and they'll give you a list of people who provide that coverage. If you're purchasing a new home, you're going through and moving into a new house, your coverages will go in effect the day of. But for most of you, you're buying a policy for a home you already own. And there's a 30-day wait period from the point that you sign the contract until the coverage goes into effect.
Am I required to carry flood insurance, and what zone am I in?
There are a set of people who are required to have flood insurance. They live in that high hazard area, and they have a federally backed mortgage. There's where the requirement is. But I will tell you that anyone who lives in an area that can experience flooding needs to have flood insurance. I've had some folks debate with me, well, I live at the top of a mountain, do I still need flood insurance? And that's an interesting conversation to have. But most of us live in communities that are relatively flat. And even if you're just outside that line, you want flood insurance. We have some of the best pricing available for those preferred risk policies. And as I kind of look at the kind of payouts that play out for us, nearly 20% of the claims that I pay are for folks who live outside the mandatory area who made the choice to ensure that their home and their belongings were covered.
What are my policy limits, and are my premiums correct?
So policy limits, there's an upper limit. So by law, we can offer as much as $250,000 worth of structural coverage, another $100,000 on contents. But really, that coverage level that you have is something you need to work with an agent. What's the value of your structure, which is likely different than the total value of the real estate. The land you're on has a value, but we're only insuring the structural part. And then we have the elements related to how much contents coverage you want. Work with an agent. To the degree you have a mortgage, your bank may have some opinions as well about how much coverage they want you to have. FEMA doesn't set that. That's something that you, as the homeowner or as the bank, may direct you to do.
How do I file a flood insurance claim?
Filing a flood insurance claim is very simple. You can call your agent, or you can call the number for the company that is on the top of your policy. They're all FEMA-backed policies, but we sell those through any number of companies, and you go through and you make that phone call to the agent or to the company. It's right at the top of your policy, and you start the process for a claim. Along the way, what I will tell you is if you are ever frustrated or confused going through our claims process, I want you to come directly to us. I want you to dial 1-800-621-FEMA. It's the same number where we do the other kinds of registrations for disaster assistance. And when you call 1-800-621-FEMA, if you have any frustration or confusion related to your flood claim, there are people there who can take that call and get the right service delivered to you as soon as possible.
How do I file a claim on a group flood insurance policy?
It's the exact same way for a group insurance policy. On your group flood certificate, there's going to be a phone number that you can dial to initiate that claim against the group flood insurance policy. But if you get frustrated, if you get confused in that process, simply call 800-621-FEMA and we'll help you through the process.
How long should it take to hear back after filing a flood claim?
So you should hear back from an adjuster in a matter of just a couple of days in terms of that initial contact once you file a claim. They have an ability to release an advance payment to you that the adjuster does even before they do their first inspection. And so you should see that first inspection happen in a matter of days.
How do adjusters obtain flood insurance certification to be able to handle claims?
So the adjusters go through quite a bit of training. In fact, they have to have at least 4 years worth of experience in the flood peril doing adjusting before they can become an adjuster on their own. We have ongoing training for them. I know in this instance, we actually did a series of refreshers for them. But one of the really important pieces to me is not only do we put the right kind of certifications in place and training requirements, but we then have a quality assurance program in place by which we are randomly selecting these claims. That we are having folks look at them, check them out, sometimes even go back and walk back through the structure with you to ensure that the right answers are coming out of the process.
Is it true that if FEMA helps you for a disaster, you will be required to buy flood insurance in the future?
So if you receive any kind of assistance from FEMA and you live in the special flood hazard area, you will be required to maintain insurance equal to the level of assistance you received in perpetuity.
What do you want people to know about flood insurance?
What I want you to know about flood insurance is that at a residential level, as a homeowner, the most powerful tool you have to be able to recover more quickly and more fully from a flood disaster is to have insurance. There are some safety net pieces related under the Stafford Act under individual assistance, but the kinds of payouts that we can see in the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars are available when you have flood insurance. And flood insurance is not just available to a homeowner. It's available to a renter as well. You can get coverage for your contents and ensuring that you too will be able to recover more quickly and more fully when you rent a home.